going on, dudes and dudettes? So definitely have a lot more USC stuff to report on today. So definitely gonna make that just this video solo and do the rest of the stuff maybe tomorrow or the following day. But yeah, there was a lot of talk, especially Lincoln Riley had to answer questions after the move of Oregon and Washington to the Big Ten, and kind of if they expected that and how it's going to affect recruiting and all this stuff. And he pretty much said that, yeah, they obviously had no idea that any other team other than UCLA was coming with them from the Pac-12 or any other school to join the Big Ten. It was kind of just going to be maybe him thinking that they were just going to kind of run the West Coast and hopefully try to dominate it, not only on the field, but recruiting-wise as well. But definitely the push for Oregon and Washington to go to a better conference helps them out in recruiting also, which kind of sucks for USC. Doesn't really matter with UCLA because they kind of want to get transfers anyways, other than, you know, the type of talented freshman or incoming freshman from out of high school. But yeah, either way, he said it's just something they got to deal with. It's something that's going to bug him too much. But I kind of, once I saw that comment, I kind of wondered if maybe USC was maybe thinking about canceling their thing, even though they had kind of agreed like a few months back. I forget if it was earlier this year or even some point last year, late last year, that they were going to officially move over next season, not the season starting in a couple weeks, to the Big Ten. So I don't know. Either way, I don't know if they could even get out of that deal or contract, because then there's nothing really to go back to, because the Pac-12 is literally now the Pac-4. Most of the other schools, the Arizona schools, the two schools that came in, Utah, Colorado, are all gone. Cal and Stanford, or Oregon State and Washington State are the only four teams left in the Pac-4. And then they might end up joining the Mountain West that has like Boise State, San Diego State, San Jose State, teams like that. Or maybe even the American Athletic Conference, which kind of has more teams in the middle of the country, which is still kind of weird. But yeah, I don't know if they could really do that, or if they want to do it and they just think it's going to be more beneficial if they still stay with their initial move in the contract to the Big Ten. So we'll see how it all ends up developing. But yeah, it's pretty interesting thing to think about, that, you know, say if you get hired at a job and then all of a sudden your sworn enemy got hired the next day or within a month or so of you being there, and you never knew that they were going to come in, and it's kind of, you know, caught you by surprise. So what would your, you know, intentions be after that? You never know. It might be easier in a situation like that compared to this, when contracts and all that stuff are involved. You just never know. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And Pro Football Focus put out this, I don't know what you call it, on Twitter or X, about the most pro football players from a certain college team that are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Those certain players, and of course USC has to be tied with their rival Notre Dame with 14 players overall in the history of the NFL at number one. But of course, maybe the PFF likes USC a lot because they put USC ahead of Notre Dame instead of like side by side or whatever. So I kind of like that little dig towards them, but I'm pretty sure USC will get another player or a handful of players the next couple of years, or at least next couple of decades. When it comes to Notre Dame players, not really many have stood out in my opinion, but yeah, we will see. USC offered a couple more of the players coming in 2025 out of the high school ranks. They offered an offensive lineman, a local guy, Jake Flores, and a top 100 edge player, Bryce Davis, as well. So obviously Davis, the edge player, is most likely ranked higher. Flores is more of a local guy and a guy they really liked, and it's getting a lot of buzz, so he might move up in the rankings. But yeah, these were two of the more recent offers. There are more offers, but I kind of did everything as the news that came in when I wrote down, so the offers will be sprinkled throughout this video. But yeah, either way, some nice couple bit of offers right there to start it off. And then USC basketball recently got a 2024 commitment from a 6'4" shooting guard and Liam Campbell. I never really knew much about him. They didn't even say like what type of star rating he is, but it doesn't really matter because the highlights and the tape say what type of player he's gonna be. In my opinion, he looks like the next mold of that type of player. What Austin Reeves is, a guy who can do multiple things for you, a high energy guy. He has enough size to be able to help you out. Even on defense, he plays some pretty good defense as well. But he is a big time playmaker. Can make shots and make like a lot of even difficult shots off the dribble as well, going towards the basket. So definitely like his type of talents, and hoping that he's going to stick with this commitment and be playing for USC basketball next year. On3 rankings keep updating their recruiting rankings for 2024 because more and more guys are committing and decommitting and flipping to other schools here and there. And of course, USC has been the team that getting the axe pretty much, because now they are definitely out of the top 10 with some other teams getting a lot of certain players, even players from them. But yeah, I think the one player decommitted from them and they went down to like number 13, and now they're like to number 15. I don't know if that was because of another decommitment or if just other players committing to other schools jumped the schools right behind them, above them. But either way, yeah, it's a very fluid situation. But at least if you're working as a top 15 team right now, and there's a lot of good players on the rise to be able to start committing soon and later in the year, I think USC definitely still has a chance to finish top 10. A lot of people get crazy and think that USC always has to finish top 5, if not higher, like the number one team in recruiting when it comes to high school players. I don't think so, because Lincoln Riley still says he's going to use the transfer portal, not as much as other teams, but it was very successful the way he used it his first year, and he's used it again this most recent year, and it looks like he's got a pretty nice, formidable team, especially on defense, the type of transfers they got. So he's still going to use that. So you usually normally get like a 20 to 25 amount of high school kids to bring in per class, but with the transfer portal, that kind of ruins those numbers. So I think really you might get, the 15 to 20 best high school players, and then that extra 5 are going to be some really high impact transfers, according to what I've seen from him doing. And you're always going to have people leave when it comes to playing time or just wanting to play somewhere else anyways that are already on the team. So you also have a chance to add, another 5 to 10 scholarships here and there as well. As I mentioned, he has 3 more offers in that 2025 class USC just had. So they recently offered a defensive lineman, a 4-star, and Cole Breiler. Hopefully I'm saying that correct. 2025 top 100 defensive lineman Myron Charles, and the 2025 number 2 overall wide receiver Caleb Cunningham. So yeah, a lot of talented dudes all there. 2 more guys that they offered on the defensive line. They've been going after a lot of like linebackers and defensive linemen, not only in the 2024 class, but this class as well. So they're definitely looking towards the future, because they do have some guys that are still on the roster for the next couple years, but those guys are going to be most likely leaving soon because of how talented they are, in my opinion. So it's nice strategy that they're doing. Coach Sean Nua, the defensive line coach, is doing his work, and definitely looking like some pretty good stuff going on in that 2025 class. And a couple of awards watch lists came out the past couple of days as well. 2 USC wide receivers were named to the Bolitnikoff Awards watch list, which goes to the top wide receiver. I don't know if it's top wide receiver or just receiver, so tight ends could be a part of it too, I believe. But yes, Dorian Singer, the transfer from Arizona, is on that list, and Taj Washington kind of surprised me a little bit that he's on the awards watch list. I don't know how many people could be on this list, but going after Taj is kind of a little bit of a stretch in my opinion. I probably would have gone for like a Brendan Rice, who played very well the last couple of games for USC down their stretch, especially in that Tulane game. But either way, looking at the type of talent USC has throughout their entire roster. And then Caleb Williams was also named to the Davey O'Brien Awards watch list, which I believe goes to the top quarterback in the nation and showing excellence not only on the field but off the field as well. I forget if he won this last year. Last year was very weird, where he won the Heisman, but he didn't win, like, I think he won the Maxwell. I could be wrong, but I think the TCU guy, that quarterback, Max Duggan, he won something else. And yeah, it was kind of like a couple of different players won certain type of awards that usually if you win the Heisman, it means you're the best college player at your position, so you should win those other awards at that position, but he didn't for some reason. Maybe it's just because they invited those players to the ceremony and wanted to give them something. I don't know. But either way, he should be able to sweep all that stuff up if looks like he's looking really locked and loaded, and all he's been saying is that a college football Final Four is on his mind, and that's what he wants to get to. So he's going to have some tough work to do it. Might have to score 100 points in a game depending on which defense shows up that game, but the defense is definitely more improved, so he shouldn't have to score as much. But yeah, I think as long as he's healthy, he could lead us to the promised land, in my opinion. So the coaches poll recently came out. There's like a coach poll, a media poll. I don't know which one is really like 100%. Maybe it's the AP poll, because then there's like the college football playoff poll that comes out after a certain part of the year that everybody takes more, looks at more often. But yeah, the coaches have USC at number 6. A lot of people are upset and they think that they should be higher. I think they're kind of spaced correctly where they should be. I don't think they should be, out of the top 10. They should definitely be in there. There are other teams that are getting some hype, but a lot of those teams, even if they're ranked above USC at the time, they're going to beat up each other in the first couple of weeks or even throughout the season. So USC is still going to move up either way as long as they do their job and win these games. But yeah, a lot of other teams like Utah, Oregon, Washington. I don't think UCLA was ranked, but those other teams were ranked, and USC is playing them. Even Notre Dame as well, and they still said, I think, was it PFF or some other thing that said that USC has like the 5th easiest schedule according to their analytics. Yeah, the F right. As I mentioned earlier, yes, there was a decommitment from USC, the 4-star local cornerback Dakoda Fields, who supposedly was he kept saying he was a top recruiter for USC. A lot of articles were written about him saying that he was trying to recruit guys to USC, be their leader at that, the high school player as that. But apparently he's already decided to decommit and flip over to Oregon, which was kind of weird, but he did make that random trip up there right before the dead period and said there was nothing to worry about, and even after the visit, everything was fine. I think either the last video or the video prior to that last week I said that, but now all of a sudden he's flipped over, and I don't know if money was involved, but he supposedly said Oregon was his dream school, but he kind of said similar stuff to with USC, so I don't know if this is just money related or whatever, or if the move to the Big Ten swayed him so now he could go to the school he wanted to, in his opinion. But either way, yeah, we'll definitely have to see what goes on with him if he does end up flip-flopping as well later in the year. But then also Peyton Woodyard, the top safety out here in California that was committed to Georgia and recently decommitted, so USC has been trying to get him the past couple of months, but looks like he's flipped to Alabama, which is pretty crazy because obviously Georgia and Alabama are in the same conference, but he obviously wanted to go there because of Coach Nick Saban, all this stuff, and I guess, we're probably not going to have a chance to get him if he's already flipped once. So, yeah, we'll see. I have less positive feelings about getting Woodyard compared to Fields back, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And one of the top 4-star linebackers in the 2024 class remaining, Chris Cole, was like a top 50 overall player in the country, recently named his top 6. USC was part of that, but it does suck because according to On3 and their recruiting prediction stuff, they believe that Georgia has the lead in that doghouse, as they say, which is weird because they did get a lot of commitment to that position. They still have players there, but I don't know, they just keep stockpiling on certain players that USC just wants to get one of, and they're taking a lot of the defensive linemen and linebackers and certain players, but overall we'll see what he ends up doing because he should be committing pretty soon as well. So we just have to wait and see on that. And House of Victory had one signing today. It was Amos Talalele. He's an incoming offensive lineman. He's a really tall dude, really big guy. It's looking like a nice bright spot for the offensive line in the future for USC. So it's nice for them to get him into that as well, into that collective. And then one of the top running backs, I believe he's a 4-star running back in the class of 2025. I want to get his name correct. Alvin Henderson recently released a top 10, and USC is part of that as well. So it's nice that, they still made the top 10. So we'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, like I said, a lot of offers, a lot of guys cutting lists down, and luckily USC is still part of it as of right now. But we just have to wait and see. And then, yes, a couple of different things. I think On3's reporter, one of their main guys for college football, got the scoop that from EA Sports that next summer is officially when the new college football game will be released from EA Sports. And I think it was actually supposed to be this summer, but they had to push it back. But now it sounds like officially, no matter what, it's going to be done next summer. So definitely looking forward to that. And yeah, maybe we'll get to play with Caleb Williams. Maybe not, because it's kind of projecting for the next season anyways, and he's most likely going to be going to the NFL. But maybe he might want to stay an extra year and be able to get on that cover for the first return of the college football game. Come on, Caleb, you could stand being one more year. You're still going to be the #1 pick, baby. So yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Fight on.